Somebody in the way, battling, having got in way of the attempted clearance. Jim Gannon. Oh, great flick on by Alan Armstrong. Oh, what a beauty! Oh, what a beauty!
It's against Bradford, but here's Warburton!
Yes!
Trying to manufacture the shot, gets it away, yeah!
Not got it clear. Please, sir! It's a cracker!
Armstrong played in the game and a superb goal.
Tony Diddy. Stockport County are the champions of League Two.
So here we are. I'm delighted to be joined by Chris Ridgway, former former County Live host? Is that completely gone now, or we're expecting that back sometime soon?
Come back to that later. Come back to that later.
So I suppose loads of County fans will know Chris from his days at County Live and just generally being a County fan. And we're delighted to be joined by Niall Brown, pro boxer and County fan, and just to talk really about County, about your passions about County and boxing as well. So we'll get straight into it, Niall. The question that I always ask any guest really is, why County? What got you into County?
First of all, thanks for having me.
No problem, mate.
You, both of you taking your time out to have me on. Why County? It's on my doorstep, literally. I grew up in Edgerley, lived around here all my life. It's just literally on my doorstep. I live one road away from Stockport County. So yeah, it just makes sense. And obviously, growing up, I've had friends go and I've been going to the games myself.
Nice. So you spent plenty of time down the reses then, around the reses and exactly. Monkey Bridge, over Bridge Hall and that. And nice. That was my childhood, about 30 years before you. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
What's parking like around there?
Say that again.
What's parking like around your house?
Oh, mate, that was one thing. I've had a ticket because of County. I didn't put my permit in the car. Got a 30 quid ticket. Luckily they squashed it, but yeah, keep my permit in the car now.
You complain about 3 points on a Saturday. That's speeding. Doesn't matter. Wrong joke.
My name is Niall Brown and I fight for this town.
So do you go? Do you ever get to the games, or being local, or are you always training? Do you ever get to any matches?
To be honest, I don't get as much as I should. Obviously, because of training and whatnot, I'm always training, and obviously days that I count here on Saturdays, I've still got training. So yeah, but more recently, I've been going to the games. I went to the Wrexham away. I went to Wimbledon. So the last couple of months, I've been to a few more games. Which has been good, to be honest, just to see my friends. Like I said, a lot of my mates go, so it's good to spend time there and see County do well.
Yeah, Wrexham away. So you went to Wrexham away? That was a painful one, wasn't it?
Yeah, luckily they already won the league, so all the fans giving us grief wasn't as bad.
Yeah. So when you were growing up, then I think you grew up on Edgerley, did you? And went to school around there as well. It's easy to get drawn into United or City. Were all your mates United and City fans? I guess that's a yes, but go on, tell us about your growing up experiences around all that.
Yeah, to be fair, a lot of my friends still either are United or City. Personally, my dad's United, so I'm United. But like I said, Stockport County's on my door, so it'd be mad not to support them. But yeah, growing up, like you said, on the reses, round the back of the reses, we used to actually climb over the back of the reses and nick the footballs, from the match days, what they've kicked over. Take one apart and have a kick about. But yeah, like I said, being around here, I think it would be daft not to support my own team.
All I was thinking was, I wonder if you should have said that publicly, Niall, about nicking the balls, because we know what Lando and co are like. I'm half expecting you to get an invoice through the post.
I'll be surprised, to be honest.
No, it's it must have been. Do you know what? I always used to wonder, watching those balls go flying over, going up. I always used to wonder if I could get around there quick enough after the game, obviously I didn't have the mindset of like maybe don't go to the game and sit around the back. I heard a story, Russ. Maybe you know. Was there not someone who used to have like a little boat at the club and used to run out, sort of sailing out to get the balls? Was this urban legend?
No, it's not. You've got your clubs mixed up. That's Shrewsbury. So when they were at the Gay Meadow, they had a little guy on a boat with a little oar thing, fetching the balls. I don't think that was ever in the reses behind County. Pretty sure it wasn't. It'll just be kids going, like just be kids like Niall getting them.
Yeah, one of my mates that going for a swim, getting the match ball.
Yeah, I imagine that, just like going around to your house or something and seeing these 15 footballs in the back garden. You're like, there's no way you've been aboard. These are all like on the games. Yeah, nice. What was it like now? Like when I can only imagine, because I know what it was like for me, right? I grew up, in Offerton, and like it, so I wasn't on the doorstep, only down the road, like, but I wouldn't exactly say it was on my doorstep. And all my mates, I remember my best mate who lived next door growing up was a City fan. All the lads around us were either United or City. So for me, as a kid, it was hard not to get my head turned at certain times. But I reckon my dad was having none of it, and then my brother's growing up, and he was half decent at playing as well. So there was talk of him going playing there and all this. So it was kind of always going to happen. But for you, was it a bit different? If like all your mates is like we all had this sort of struggle, going down the United City route. But like you say, you're seeing thousands of people walk past your door every Saturday to go to games and stuff. Was that? It must have been a bit of a lure, right? Watching them and just kind of wanting to join in and see where they're going and see what they're seeing.
Yeah, it was. More so as I got a little bit older, because like I said, I've always kind of been busy training. But as I got older, I used to go to the games with my mates, like maybe like a Tuesday night or whatever it was for the week. I think it was like £3 to get in. So I used to get a £5 off my mum, go and pay for a ticket, and we'd just go and watch the game. Like I said, at half time we'd be running around up and down the stairs, go getting pies and whatnot. But yeah, it brings a lot of attention around here, and it always draws you, because you can hear it. I can hear the sirens when they're testing the towers and whatnot. So it's always something that's always just been there. And to be honest, it's kind of become normal now. I could just kind of just hear it and know what it is.
Do you know what I've got to say? I've got to say the crossover between Stockport County and boxing is not. It's not like an obvious one that slaps you in the face, right? And obviously, you should like it might do with some clubs. Like take City for example, right? They got Ricky Hatton, who was a massive name, obvious City fan, wore the badge everywhere. So it's kind of easier to make that connection. But with County, there is this strong boxing connection, albeit it's not so obvious. So a lot of fans might not know this, but for years the Sapphire Suite has held boxing events. The Hattons have run academies through there and fight nights through there and whatever. And when I had a little white collar fight about a month ago, walked out in my County shirt, the amount of people stopping us and asking us about it, what do you think of the club this season, this player, that player, what do you think of him coming in, and all this kind of stuff. And people say, even while the fight was going on, and you know significantly better than I do now, it's hard to focus on the crowd and stuff when you're in the ring, but you do hear little things. And I remember one guy singing like some form of Blue Army chant while I was in there, and I remember thinking there is this real sort of strong pull if you can resonate with a Stockport County audience. All right, listen, it's not as big as City or United yet, but it is on that way up. And the boxing crossover, it is kind of there, right? And as a boxer, a football audience is like the ideal nut, right? That's what you want to crack. Look at enough examples up and down the divisions. Fabio Wardley at Ipswich, whoever else, wherever else. Those connections are right there if you can tap into it. Yeah.
Like you said, I've been to a few of them events at Stockport County, whether it be white collar, amateur. Like I said, I've been there and they're on quite regularly, and it's good for local people to get to see the young talent coming through. But what you say now with the support of Stockport County, like you said, if we could get them behind me, it'd be absolutely massive. And I'd love it, to be honest, because obviously with County doing so well as they are doing at the minute, people in the area, you see the morale just lift. And hopefully I can be the next person from Edgerley, from Stockport, to be able to do that. And hopefully we could do it side by side. Maybe one day I could be headlining at Stockport County. You never know.
Definitely.
Imagine that. I have a story where once we had a boxer some years ago. It was with a different promotion. We had a Stockport-based boxer, and he's like he's somewhat of well, I'm not going to say legend, but he's somewhat of like you and I will know the term journeyman, which is like, you know, a sort of a ringer, if you like. He does the rounds. He's got good experience, and these journeymen are really respected on the circuit, right? Because they go through, they put young fighters through the paces. They've got a bit about them themselves, and usually they have good amateur stories, or they've achieved a lot in the younger years. And we had one called Chris Healy. Do you know him? Did the name ring any bells? Heavyweight. So Chris Healy, he's got all these stories of, you know, sparring with Tyson back in the day, European tours with Anthony Crolla, you know, all these kind of cool stories. And we had him in a fight where he was giving it a go. He was rolling the dice and he was going into this tournament. And we took him on the pitch at half time of some county game. Steve Bellis has introed him, you know, ladies and gentlemen, can you put your hands together, please, for Chris Healy? And the fans are right behind him. And I knew 95% of the audience, of the fans, they had no idea who he was. But the fact that he was like one of theirs, he's from Bredbury, you know, he's wearing the shirt, he's giving it all this, he's at the games. It was a Tuesday night as well. So, like, you know, he's obviously come out in the cold on his training camp. But the best bit was, do you remember this? I don't know if you've ever seen, I think it was Eddie Murphy doing comedy. He was like all the guys coming out of the cinema after Rocky. And they're all walking like this. Obviously, because Chris has gone mingling with all the fans in the second half and stuff, and he's talking to them. They're asking about where they can get tickets, where they can watch his fight, you know, where X, Y, and Z. And you can see all these guys afterwards. Yeah, I used to box a bit, you know, Chris, and I've got these. You know, and they're walking around. There are a couple of them are shadow boxing as he's walking past them. Good luck next week, Chris, giving it all in. I think that's great. Like, I just, you know, there is a nice little crossover between boxing and football. And I just think, again, yeah, looking forward to seeing you tapping into that now. Because listen, Russ, I'm not just saying it because he's here, and I'm definitely not just saying it because he could beat me up, which he obviously could. the hype behind Niall is real. And the reason it's real is, you know, there's more than just something about him. There's hundreds of kids that have got a bit about them, something about. But Niall, I mean, we've seen him on a couple of shows now. I've seen him before when he was on the promotion that he's on next. Obviously, having known Lyndon and his coach for a good while now, and believe me when we say this boy, I don't know, Niall. I don't know if he's one to blush or not. I don't know. We'll find out in a second.
I actually am. You can't tell.
I'm just looking at like, hello, who's that? The hope and the potential in this boy is something. It really is something. And like I say, we've seen a lot of boxers come through the doors. We've seen a lot, you know, some make it, some fall away and whatever. But when you see Niall as a young fighter, because now you can tell us a little bit more in a moment, more specifically about your history and what you've done in the sport. But it comes from a range of, you know, there was kickboxing, I think, in there as well. And you can see that style come in. And it's not even... It's kind of like football in a way, right? You can overanalyze tactically, and it's a bit boring. It's a bit boring to say, well, he stands like this and he moves. Unless you're going to go on a specific boxing podcast or forum, on a football Stockport County podcast, no one wants to hear us do that. What they want to hear is this guy's been in with all different kinds of monsters, all different kinds of big, ugly guys who train, some kicking, some throwing elbows, and he's come through all of them. He's now stepping up against, you know, in nearly his hometown, Bolton's around the corner. And once again, I know he's all smiles here, but believe me, if you were stepping in the ring against this guy, it's not a place you want to be. And if you've been watching the football during the day, which you know is going to be happening because the Euros are on next week, starting next week, and you've all had, you know, you've had your fill of football, and everyone's had a couple of scoops, and now they want to go and see something a bit different. This is where the excitement comes in, and I can sort of see just through the screen now he's sitting there, picturing it in his mind, and he's getting ready. And this is the kind of thing you want, right? As a sports fan, this is what you want to be watching.
Yeah, very kind words. And to be honest, you're not wrong there. I am, as humble as I am, I'm ready to be let loose and show everyone what I'm about. Like I said, I'm a nice guy, but when I'm in the ring, it's totally different. So yeah, if I can get the support of the local people around me, which I do have a lot of support from around here. Like you said, you mentioned people going out to the football, having a few drinks, coming to the boxing. It's happened before. Like a lot of the people who come and support me are county fans. Like some of them, they've been to Wrexham away, finishes at 5. They've got to get to the venue where I'm fighting for 7 o'clock, and just making a good day out of it. And like I said, if I can bring everyone from Edgeley together and be that next big thing for everyone in Edgeley, then I'll be very happy.
Yeah, don't stop at Edgeley, mate. Don't stop at Edgeley. Can I just bring it back to the crossover between football and boxing? Because I do think there's a massive crossover there, not just with county. I just think kids in general. I grew up on Edgeley, as we said before, Bridgehall specifically. Then I moved to Brinney, and I still go back to Brinney now to the leisure centre. And I know blokes that I've grew up with who are boxing trainers now in Brinney Leisure Centre. They're getting kids from the estate to go in, and they're the same kids that they love the football, whether they support United, City or County, whatever. They love the football, and they play for the the local teams as well. But they're always there at the boxing and in the ring and doing the training. Is that something that you get behind as well and sort of endorse and youngsters getting into boxing, getting that training early on?
Yeah, definitely. Funny enough, you say it. Like I've actually been teaching a few kids in Bridgehall. I've been teaching a few kids in Brinney in the youth club. When I used to do Thai boxing, we were doing Thai boxing classes. I've done a few classes on Bridgehall because that's where my nieces go. Like literally, my family, everyone is from around here. And I think it's good for kids to get into something. Obviously, football. I think 90% of kids are going to play football. But that extra bit of discipline, I think, will come from boxing because it did for me. Like when my mates were out doing whatever they're doing, messing about, I had to be at the gym for 6 o'clock, and I was there till 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. By the time I get back, I'm tired. I don't want to go out. I don't want to cause whatever they're doing, cause trouble. So I think the two together can make a massive difference in people's lives, as it has done for me. Like I said, it's just kept me on the straight and narrow.
Yeah, I actually think more young footballers could do with some of the discipline from boxing, couldn't they? Really, being sort of taught those disciplines. Talking about current county, then what players are you? What are your favourite players for county? Then any player really, current, past, whatever.
To be honest, like I said, I've not had a chance to massively follow them over the last couple of years. It's more so been the last few months. But whenever I've been, Odin Bailey stands out to me. I don't know what it is. There's something about him. I just like the way he plays and probably more his attitude. Like he just tries and keeps trying and keeps trying. So he's one that's really stuck out for me.
Yeah, he's definitely got a never say die attitude. I think he came from Birmingham, didn't he, Chris? I think he sort of came through the Birmingham youth and then lost his way a bit, and he's come to us and he's found his feet now. So hopefully we can get loads out of him. So tell us about your work with the club, Niall. How did that come about, and what does all that entail?
Yeah, so I got contacted by County just to come and speak to the kids, as we were saying. Like they know I'm a local lad, they know what I do in boxing wise and just training. So they asked me to come in and work on this program where they're gonna bring kids in who've been getting in trouble at the actual games. So say they run on the pitch and then they're shouting abuse, whatever, they're just not behaving at the games. They're going to bring a few certain people in, so they're going to get me, different like sports people to come and just try and relate to the kids and just speak to them and tell them obviously what they're doing is not right, why it's not right, how they can fill the time with other stuff as I did myself. So just come in and tell my story really, and just show them what it's done for me, and hopefully it can just keep them out of trouble.
Yeah, give you something amazing. Back.
That's it. So I've got to jump in. It's just when we've all been like, or maybe not Niall, you and I was maybe in our younger years, a little bit of a tearaway, I think you're a little bit of a bad boy from time to time and stuff. But if you're speaking to sportsmen, but specifically combat sportsmen, okay, footballers have a similar pull, but for different reasons.
Yeah.
But if you're a combat sportsman and you're going in and you're saying, look, I know that this is happening and your mates are saying this and some of your mates have got some of this and that and there's a girl who's saying this and that or whatever. But this is not the cool thing to do. And this is what you can be doing instead. And this is just another way of looking down the scope, so to speak. And then they're seeing you, a week or so later, 2 weeks later, going out into a big stage, big arena, these like huge sort of fight nights, and you're literally putting into practice what you're saying. It's not just lip service. You're going in, you obviously look the way you do, physical shape, the shape that you're in, and then you're backing it up by punting some guy around a ring, but in a way that you're allowed to, and not just doing it like 10 men out on the street. Yeah, it's sort of like that is the inspiration, right? Because I'm not buying into all this Instagram stuff. So many fighters do where they, never give up hope and blah blah blah. Okay, it's good for a few likes, but it's not real. Like everyone says it and does it. It's not really, or so often it's not real. But if you're actually getting into these people who clearly have been affected by something, and that's why they're acting in the way that they do. And it doesn't have to be a major event. It could just be their mates are a bit, wrong crowd sort of problem. But something's happened and they're in this position. And then you're going in, you're obviously not going to be physically intimidated. You're obviously a bit witty and sharp. So they're not going to push you around. And then what you're saying, they can actually see you back up. This is, for me, that's proper sports inspiration. Like that's what you should be doing as a sportsman. And that's a very good prophecy to fulfill.
Yeah, hopefully that's what I can do. I can show and inspire these kids because, like I said, I've been there and I've seen it. Like, I know I'm only 26, but I've been whatever it is they are messing about, and what happens with my mates. Some of my mates now, some are in jail, some are doing whatever they're doing, and just by having something to focus on, whether it be in football, like we said, whether it be in boxing, whatever it is, it's just kept me straight and narrow. So what I've learned, if I could just pass a little bit of that on to the kids, and like you said, just show them, pretty much show them. It's all right talking all this talk, but they see me out running. I probably know half the kids that are going to be on the course because I see them out running. I see them on the way to the gym. I see them on edge of there. So yeah, what you're saying, I just need to show them, and hopefully it will change a few minds, keep them on the straight and narrow.
Yeah. Do you think? I mean, I'm no boxing fan at all, a boxing expert or anything. But just going back to what Chris said, about the Instagram and maybe the social media side of it, from a boxing person and a boxing fan for you, Chris, perspective. Well, you're a boxer, aren't you, Chris? I think white collar boxer.
Once
you get in that ring.
The YouTubers and the TikTokers that get in the ring and have all these fights for money, does that dilute some of the work you are trying to do with the kids, that you can become a TikToker, get a fight and get a big deal, and when you're trying to instill discipline and show them the right way, I guess, does that dilute it for you? Or because it seems from the outside looking into me, it just feels like it's a bit of a joke and I'm waiting for the real boxers to come back in and take the headlines, you know what I mean?
So is that to me or to Chris?
Well, to you first, Niall.
Yeah, yes and no. Like, I think there can be good that comes from it because it might even just spark an interest in something. But yeah, a lot of it isn't glitz and glam. Like 90% of it isn't glitz and glam. Like, yeah, it's not everything's not what it seems on TikTok or Instagram. Like you're training hard every day. You've got to be disciplined. You've got to be disciplined with your food. But I think it can be good. Like I said, it just sparks interest and maybe 1 out of 5 might get it and I might do something with it. So it's got its pros and cons for me.
Yeah, but does it? When like a YouTuber who's got no maybe experience in boxing and has not done your path. You're a proper boxer, aren't you? They've just been on YouTube, got a bit of fame, got a load of followers, and then step in the ring, get loads of dosh for it. Does that dilute it for you? Do you look up to them, or are they just like, do you just pass them off as jokers kind of thing? It's a bit like in football, if a YouTuber signed for, I don't know, City and played for them for 5 games, that would make it a bit of a joke, wouldn't it, from a football perspective? Yeah,
it could be quite frustrating because like me and the lads in the gym were putting the hard work in day out, week in, week out, year in, year out. And for some of these people just to come and get it like that, it can be quite frustrating. But at the same time, it is what it is. They've got to do what they've got to do, and if they can make it work, I'm not going to. Good on them. Good on them. If they can make the most out of what they're doing, fair enough. Good on them.
Yeah.
But they'll soon realise if they've got another proper boxer, then it's not. It's not a joke.
I think for me, it's the gateway. So I grew up on WWE. I was into WWE or WWF as it was then, way before boxing. And that was the sort of window to it, where you're seeing the big strong guys throw each other around and trash talk each other and stuff. And the trash talk and the sellability is why 90% of narratives in boxing work, right? There's other times, there's other ones, but first and foremost, they love it. It's who doesn't love this guy talking trash right in somebody else's face, and the other one, is he going to lash out? Is he going to do something, or is he going to back it up in the ring? And that's the kind of thing I love. I guess when you mentioned the City comparison, I guess it's not really. I don't really see it like that. I think it would be a bit better to compare, or a bit more likable to compare. If a YouTuber comes along now, take Stockport County, right? Okay, last couple of years, there's been a spike in fans and followers, because of obvious investment, glamour, promotion, so on and so forth. But if you go back to the start of that last couple of years, where the club was gaining a bit of momentum anyway, we got out of the National League North. Fans attendance go up with every promotion anyway. There's a real bond between the players. Everybody can name that team that got us up from goalkeeper to attacker, probably even the subs bench. There was a great feeling around the club. Now, if you'd had a YouTuber who wasn't really a County fan, who was just some, little sort of snot-nosed punky kid or whatever, but he gets himself a YouTube channel and he goes, look at me, I'm a Stockport County fan. I go to the games and I like this player in the 90s and you and I will know that he's not really, but he's shining a big light on County. Yeah. And all of a sudden, a few more people are coming down, and then the club's social media following goes up a bit because of it. You'd have a similar conversation, right? You'd say, is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? Because he's bringing much needed attention to the club, but at the same time, he's a fake. There's 50 images of him online cheering on United or wearing a Ronaldo shirt or whatever. He's just doing this because it helps his audience. But as a County fan, you'd probably take it in the long run because, well, if he's bringing 1,000 extra fans a week, that means the transfer budget goes there to there. The entertainment value goes up a little bit. It's a bigger thing to say in the office, isn't it? What was your attendance this week? And you're, instead of saying 4,000, you're saying 5,000, and I just think there's a whole number of ways to look at it. And there are some YouTubers that abuse the position of like, come on, you're not really a boxer. You're not. Let's just say it as it is. But as Niall says, and as I can now say, being a white collar boxer, you earn the respect. You have to. You have to, because at the end of the day, you're getting in there and getting smacked around the face. And if you can come through a 12-week camp and then go and do that in front of the masses on TV and all the rest of it, then fair enough. It's just my 2 cents.
No, fine, yeah. you put it so eloquently.
I have to say that, I work with misfits, so I have to say it.
No, I think there definitely can be some good that comes out of it. Like a lot of purists, they don't like it because they know the time and effort that us boxers put in. But I think you've got to look at the good that can come from it, and I think a lot of good has come from like the YouTube boxing and stuff from the last couple of years. So yeah, as long as it keeps these kids that interested and spark something in them, then I've got no complaints about it.
My final piece on it is there is a saying in boxing that two donkeys make a derby. So you can see some great fights in the YouTube world because there's two fighters that are of similar level, and they're just going swinging out bells on each other. Fine. We talk. You couldn't really do that on a football pitch if you were watching two really low quality teams. It's just a boring football match, isn't it? Until one of them backs down the other?
I don't know. I'm a football purist, Niall. So I can literally I can go onto Daisy Fields now, watch two like I don't know under 11s play each other, and I'll just stand there and watch it because I think this is football. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. But I get what you're saying, Chris. Do you know what I mean? I can watch on the TV. I don't know, Afan Lido versus Rill, and I'll think, oh, this is great. I'm watching football, but because they're of a similar level and they're going at it, they're just going back to the boxing analogy. I guess because I'm a football purist, I see it that a boxing purist might not like it, as you said, Niall, but if it shines a light on it, yeah, maybe I need to broaden my own horizons and think about that.
Maybe this podcast gets so big, you go and become a YouTube boxer.
There you go. I'll train you.
Me?
You're all right. Chris can promote you. I'll train you. The next big thing.
I can't. I pulled my back out at a hit class about 4 years ago, so I can't. So now, what are you going back to the football then? Yeah, is there anything more? I mean, has anybody taken you in the club in terms of what you're doing there at the club? So Steve Bellis always gets a mention. He's already been mentioned on this podcast now. How did that get facilitated? Was it Steve that got you in, or was it somebody else, or who's sort of your main liaison?
Yeah, it was somebody else. It's a lady called Suzanne and Amy. Obviously, I know Suzanne personally, so like I said, she's known me for years. She's known what I've been doing, so she just dropped me a message and said, "Would you be interested in doing this with the kids?" So I said, "Yeah, why not?" So yeah, that's who's got me in there.
Nice. And I don't think we can move on too much without talking about the old fitness coach or strength and conditioning coach. Sorry, at County. What was he called? Donnelly. Mike,
Yeah,
was he called?
Nick
Donnelly, that's it. He was under Jim Gannon, wasn't he, I think?
Yeah, so funny enough, he used to be the strength and conditioning coach for the lads at County. And then I think probably around a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, he come to the boxing gym, and now he's my strength and conditioning coach. So I've heard many stories of County through Nick. And he's great at what he does. Like, he puts in the hard work with us lads and pushes us when we need pushing, pulls us back when we need pulling back. And it's just good to have that other, how can I say, that calculated way of training, because he's on job. He's good at what he does. So
you two between you, because Chris, you were definitely around close to County during the Jim Gannon days, and now that he's your strength and conditioning coach, Niall, you must be some good stories you can tell us about training or time at County between you. Some funny stories, maybe.
I mean, Nick, for me, I wouldn't say it's very rare. It's very rare that you get a funny story about a strength and conditioning coach, because they're usually so on it about what you're eating and what you're working on. But I know that when COVID happened and the lockdowns come in, Nick was like my go-to guy for he was like my Joe Wicks. So like I was getting like fitness instructions, and he was telling me which app to download. It was Tabata or something, like, and this is the circuit you're going to do. And he was absolutely killing me from like 50 miles away. Like, he's ringing me, making sure that I'm getting up and I'm doing it and stuff. And then when the doors started to open back up, there used to be a gym in County, in the corner of the railway end and the main stand, where the little security office is. Just above that, there was a little gym. And we'd go in there before games, before commentary and stuff, like a few hours before, and get a session in with him. And it had always come back down to boxing. I've got to ask you now. He's going to kill me for saying this, especially publicly. But we used to do some boxing sessions with him, because he can bang. He used to do some white collars himself and stuff. So we had all these training stuff. Has he ever taken you on the pads?
No, he hasn't. The furthest go on. Right.
He used to hit down hard, like harder than I was hitting. So he's killing my wrists. Like I'm throwing these shots, and I used to just come in with some pony excuse that I couldn't do it today because I was so yeah. He used to work me too hard. I don't think I could keep up with him these days.
No, he's great. He has joined in a few sessions with us though, which is good to see, like jumping on the circuits, and obviously what he's telling us to do, he jumps on it and shows us as well. So yeah,
You know what you should do? Set up a little GoPro in the corner. Maybe he doesn't see this until we do it. Set up a little GoPro in the corner and just say to him, Nick, I need some sparring for next week, and my sparring partner's not showing up. Look him head guard. see if he jumps in. Yeah, I'd love it, wouldn't it? Oh, I couldn't, Niall. I couldn't possibly do it. I couldn't possibly. Go on then, just a couple of rounds. He gets straight in there.
I have to do that.
Yeah, one of the good guys.
So let's get all the county fans that are listening to this out of breath just by listening to you, Niall. What sort of things does he have you doing then? What's a average training regime for you with Nick, perhaps, or just generally, I guess?
Yeah. So it just depends what he's doing that day. So more recently, he's been taking out the sprint sessions, our running sessions. So as I mentioned before, on Hollywood Park, just not far from County. He's been taking us on running sessions on the stairs. He's been taking us on the running track at Sports City. And when it comes to the gym, that's when he's kind of like, he steps up a level onto the circuits. So it works everything: burpees, box jumps, plyometrics, strength conditioning, stuff that we've not done before. But I've started to see the benefit of certain things. Like I've been doing things and I'd be like, Nick, why am I doing this? And he'd happily just break it down and talk to me like, instead of saying shut up and just do it. He'd stop and explain why I'm doing it, and obviously how to do it. And like I said, I've seen improvements from it, so it's obvious that he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, and go on then. How many burpees? Just explain what a burpee is for those that don't know, and then how many do you have to do? And I obviously when Niall says what a burpee is, I want every person listening to this, if you can and you're able, to try a burpee.
Yeah. So obviously you stood up, jump down into like a press up position, do a press up, stand up, and do a squat jump. It sounds easy doing one. Try and do 50, try and do 100, try and do 2 minutes of it straight. So yeah, it just depends what else we're doing in that session. He could make us do 30 seconds of it. He could make us do a minute of it. It just totally depends how he's like choreographed the training session. Yeah, I say yeah. When I used to do Muay Thai and I used to train at Master Skens in Offerton, I think one of you mentioned you live up there.
Chris, I used to live in Offerton.
Oh, okay.
Hazel Grove now.
Yeah. So when I used to do Thai boxing, that was one of the main exercises. So I'm semi-conditioned to burpees. Obviously, they still get you, but I've done many of them. So
yeah, I mean, I've done a bit in that HIIT class. By the way, I've got some boxing gloves upstairs, so I might get them out. But we used to have to do I don't know, sort of like 10 hits of the glove left and right, and then a burpee. Then 10 more, then a burpee, then 10 more for like 2 minutes or something. I just remember thinking, what am I doing? Why am I doing this?
Why do you have boxing gloves? Were you going to go down that route?
No, it was purely because I was doing the HIIT classes and they had the bags, so you would go on the bags, do left and right. And I know what I was going to
say already. Did the gloves stink?
Yeah, they don't now. They've not been new traded.
We've been given the green light to move on to boxing, Niall, which is fine with me. I like. What did everyone make of Fury Usyk? I've got to ask.
I thought it was a really good fight. I thought Usyk would win. I don't know. There's just something about him. Like the last couple of years, his whole career, to be honest, he's just been on it. But there's just something about him. I really like Usyk.
Are you asking me as well?
I'm asking you as well. Did you watch it?
I did watch it, yeah. Do you know what? It's the first boxing match I've probably watched, I'm not joking, since maybe Hatton fought in the noughties or whenever he fought, early 2010s, maybe noughties.
Mayweather was 2007, right?
Was it? And do you know the reason why I watched it? And it's alluding, but going back to what we were speaking about before, it's because it just felt like it was the first time in ages, to me, there was a big heavyweight boxing match where it was two proper fighters. And I'm no boxing fan, no boxing expert, but even I could tell that Usyk was to me, if he looked like the better boxer. Now I realise that I sound like somebody who doesn't like football but watches the World Cup final and goes, well, Brazil were better than England or whatever. I appreciate I sound like that, but yeah, my point is it was the first boxing match that I watched for God knows how long, and I thought it was really good, really entertaining. Really enjoyed it actually.
Yeah,
I feel like it lived up to the hype. It was a good fight.
Yeah.
And it's good because listen, we've seen it in football as well. How many times have you seen it with county over the years? Obviously, before the current chapter that we're in now, where like there'd be a massive game hyped up and the TV were coming. Oh, BT are coming, Sky are coming, whatever, and it was some drab 0-0, lost 1-0, like bit of a rubbish game. We've seen it, and the fear was that was going to happen again here. Such a big fight, huge fight, and then it didn't happen, and it's sort of dragged it off, and someone's won on points or, pulled hamstring just before the fight, and it's delayed by a week, and the stepping replacement comes in and whatever. This stuff kind of happens, but Niall, what's it? It was different for me because when I stepped into the ring, it wasn't my career on the line. It wasn't, it wasn't if I lose this. Do I have to start looking at alternatives or the road just gets a lot harder? What's it like for you getting ready? Because I can only imagine what was going through Fury and Usyk's head before they go out. But for you as a fighter, all right, if you lose one fight, it's not the end of the road and whatever. But if you lose 2 or 3, then it gets tricky or sticky, right? What's it like for you?
To be honest with you, I don't think about losing. Don't know if it sounds ignorant or whatnot, but I don't really think about it. And personally, to me, it's not the end of the world. Like,
yeah,
it is a sport. Like with football, obviously, you get frustrated when you lose a game. To me, same with boxing. Like, I love to fight again. I love to fight another day and hopefully learn from their mistakes. As I mentioned before, I used to do Thai boxing, so whenever I've lost the fight before, I probably learnt more from the loss. And for example, one fight I lost. My opponent got changed like the week of the fight, and I ended up losing the fight. But for the next 2 years, next 8 fights, I didn't lose a fight, and I think I stopped every opponent. So personally, for me, if I did lose, I think I'd get a lot of motivation from it, and I know mistakes that I can work on. So I don't beat myself up too much. I've been there and I've done it, and it doesn't really help. Just take the lesson from it and keep moving.
What would you rather do? Get that knockout shot where you feel it connect and you see the guy crumple and it's, the rest waving it off and all the rest of it. Or score an 89th minute header in front of the Cheadle end, packed out, and see all the feet rise. Yeah, everyone rises up,
Can I have a mixture of it? How about I knock someone's spark out in the Cheadle end?
You're on shaky ground. You're on shaky ground here.
We could probably make that happen,
Yeah, give me a couple of years. Hopefully that'll happen. I'll sell out Stockport County, knock someone out Cheadle end. Get the result.
Yeah, fair enough. Good answer. Saved yourself there. I thought you were talking about jumping in with the fans and having a go with someone.
Having a scrap. No.
Your career's a bit past that now. We're not there anymore.
Gone past that now.
Yeah. Oh, I tell you what, quickly, speaking about football boxing crossover, I was in Houston. Last week or the week before, putting a show on over there. And I get off the plane, I'm in the hotel doing whatever. And one of the camera guys from the broadcaster, the Zone, come over, and they're like, "I've just been speaking about you on a plane. I've just bumped into some Stockport County people coming to Houston." And I'm kind of half listening to him, half like doing whatever work I'm doing. So what? Some Stockport County people in Houston. So anyway, it's only bloody Tanto is on the flight over to Houston. He's going to some concert with some of his mates. Drop him a message. I'm like, mate, are you in Houston? And he's replying like, yeah, I'm coming to this concert. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, tiniest little town in a massive city in a massive America at the same weekend. So I'm sending him details of the event. Do you want to come up? And he's like interested, but this concert's going on. It's just bizarre. What a coincidence. Didn't get to make it to the show, but like what a weird little crossover that was. Stockport County and boxing. There you go again. Fate brings it together every time.
Yeah.
I guess the final sort of question, and this is only really Niall can answer this. What's harder to train for, do you think? Football or boxing, where you've got a team game, goes on for a lot longer, or an individual solo effort that's significantly more intense, but also shorter?
I'm have to be biased and say boxing or combat sport, because you're on your own. Like if you get tired, it's just on you. Like you can't pass the ball and try and play it off. If you get tired and drop your hands, then it can be devastating. So I'm going to be biased and have to say boxing. But I do respect you. Like I understand if you're not a team player and you're not pulling your weight, then you know what I mean, you're not going to win. So, but for me, boxing.
Do you like the fact that you're in control though? Okay, you've got a team around you, but with a football, other players can make mistakes and you're reliant on them, aren't they? With any team sport, but with yourself, once you're in that ring, you're in control and you're sort of the master of your own destiny, aren't you? Yeah,
you are. Yeah. Like I said, you're in control. If you don't go running, if you don't train hard enough, if you don't do this, it's your fault. And relating that to football, you might not be training properly, but your teammate can score a goal and you win. In boxing, it doesn't work like that. Like you'll get found out. So yeah, it's a sport where you've got to be disciplined and dedicated.
Good stuff. And I don't think we can let you go as well either by talking about England and the Euros. How do you think we'll do in the Euros?
I'm hoping to do really well. Take a leaf out of County's book.
Coming out.
Yeah, my mate Phil's just gone over, Phil Foden, so I'm buzzing for him. And hopefully he can put on some big performances like he has been doing.
Your mates with him?
I'm going to say massive name drop there.
Oh, by the way.
Yeah. You can't forget him. He's off Edgeley. He lives Well, he's not around here anymore, but yeah. It's my mate.
Have you ever had him sparring?
Years ago. You know, I think it was just before he went to the under-17s World Cup. Him and his little brother came training, but I don't think City will let him go. It's not worth it.
What was he like in there?
All right, all right, yeah. You can throw a 1-2. Might get him doing a white collar actually.
Do you know what? I'd pay to watch it.
Yeah. You will get his mum. Get his mum to do it as well. Do you know what? When I lived on Bridge Hall, because I went to Bridge Hall Primary, his mum battered me at the shops on Bridge Hall when we were kids. She just battered me for nothing. She was with like her mates, and I was going shop for my mum. It's like battered me for nothing. It's hard not. Tough streets. I didn't. Honestly, I was just I didn't do anything. Just battered me. Yeah, I know the Foden. Well, I knew of the Fodens. Yeah. No, good.
But yeah, going back to England, I'm hoping they do really well, and I think they will do well.
Yeah. Well, with Foden, I mean, Foden and Bellingham are just like they're almost like better than world class, aren't they? They're just off the planet. They're so good, them two.
Yeah. Especially for their ages, like you said, they're so it's good to see them, and I'm happy for them to doing well for themselves and their families and even the country.
Yeah,
I was surprised to see Jack Grealish not make the cut. Maybe there's an injury or something I don't know about, but he's like when he's on form for me, he's the best of the bunch. He's an unbelievable player, and then he's been let out of the squad, hasn't he?
Yeah, Maguire as well. Has Maguire been cut?
Yeah, but he tweeted something about he tried to get rid of this injury and it's not gone away or something. I mean, believe that if you will, but
yeah,
sort of there's the reason. Maybe I've missed a Grealish one, I don't know, but just like Jack Grealish, like class player. Him, Saka, Bellingham, Foden, ripping anyone to pieces. But
yeah,
here's what it is. Enter somebody else to take that spot Eze, Palmer. It's not like we're struggling for numbers, is it?
No, Eze looks really, really good. I like Eze. I think he'll be a mega player in the future. He'll be really good.
Kane dropping deep, letting these boys run past him.
Yeah,
that's where it's being won.
Yeah.
Before we go, mate, when's your fight? When do we get to see your fight? Let the people know.
Yeah, so 21st of June, I'm boxing in Bolton in the. I can't remember what it's called now. It's changed names that many times. The
great name.
Bolton Wanderers Stadium. So yeah, like you said, I've boxed there before. Took a good crowd up. So hopefully do the same again this time and put on a show for everyone. I'm looking to steal the show. Been training hard. It's been a lot of sparring, so I'm ready to be let loose now. Let everyone see me. Show them what I'm about.
And how can people find out more about you? Maybe get tickets, or find out more about the fight.
Yeah, so they can either follow me on social media. So on Instagram, it's Brown_Niall, Niall Brown on Facebook, and just get in touch to me. You might even see a few posters around Edgeley if you're local. But yeah, or even through Wasserman Boxing. If you get in touch with them, they'll be able to supply you tickets as well, but mainly through me.
Yeah, go through the boxer. Always
right.
better.
Is that how it's done? I didn't know that. Is that how it's done?
Yeah. Contact mail.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's better.
Are you approachable on social media, Niall? Are you friendly to people who slide in the DMs?
Always. Depends what they're asking, actually. But yeah, if anyone wants tickets, just get in touch with me, and all support is massively appreciated. It really is. Like it goes a long way.
Nice one. Well, that's a good place to end it. Niall, cheers for coming on, mate. Really appreciate your time, giving up your time for this.
Thank you both as well. Appreciate your time and having me on there, giving me the exposure to the fans.
No worries, mate. And Chris, cheers for coming on. I think this is you've not been on since 2015, I don't think. So don't leave it as long next time, mate.
Yeah, you've got my number now. That's the new number.
Yeah. Nice one. Cheers, boys.
Nice one.
Thank you, guys.